I am Mayowa Olasuyi. President Bola Tinubu pushes for local arms, ammunition production in fight against insurgency, has noted that boosting local capacity will reduce dependence on foreign suppliers and also sharpen the nation's fight against insecurity. Speaking through his Vice President Kashim Shettima, the president noted that his administration has since made defense institutions a priority, pointing out they have upheld the rule of law, safeguard citizens' rights, promote accountability, and deliver essential services. He praised the graduates of Defense College, emphasizing that in national security, they had the framework of managing conflict, countering threats, and building resilience against instability. The federal government has described malnutrition crisis as a national emergency, warning that annual losses due to malnutrition exceed $1.5 billion. Special Assistant to the President on Public Health, Uju Rochas Anwuka, revealed this in Calabar, Cross River State, during a courtesy visit to Governor Basi Otu. In her remarks, Rochas Anwuka noted that Nigeria is ranked first in Africa and second globally for child malnutrition, saying that this undermines human capital and national development. She, however, commended the Cross River State government for making budgetary provisions for nutrition, noting that such commitment will strengthen local systems and align with national priorities. And now to politics. Socio-political activist Austin Hokai has identified former Vice President Atiku Abubakar and ex-Labour Party's presidential candidate Peter Obi as major threats to President Bola Tinubu's re-election bid in 2027. Speaking in an interview, Okai spoke about the chances of the African Democratic Congress (ADC) and PDP in 2027 election, stressing that they should focus their attention towards the 2031 presidential election. Okai, a former House of Representative candidate of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) for Dekina Bassa Federal Constituency in 2023, said former President Goodluck Jonathan can't be a barrier to Tinubu's re-election because he may likely not contest in 2027. The 2023 presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, has accused the federal government of misplacing priorities following the government's plan to spend 142 billion naira on bus terminals. Obi, in a post on his official X handle, faulted the decision, saying that it reflected poor judgment and lack of leadership focus, which affirms the administration's lack of competence, lack of focus, and poor leadership. The former Anambra State governor compared the allocation to the health sector, noting that the combined budget of all federal teaching hospitals and psychiatric centers in the country is less than 100 billion naira in the 2024 budget, noting that the difference between the sources and failure of development in any nation is how they prioritize scarce resources. Forum of People's Democratic Party youth leaders today has appealed to the National Working Committee of the party to ensure that all zones conclude their congresses for the forthcoming convention to be itch-free. The appeal was contained in a resolution issued after the meeting of the forum and signed by the Southwest Zona PDP youth leader Sheyi Bamidele, as they also demanded for total reconciliation of all factions within the party for unity and harmonization across every sections of the party across wards and zones in the country. They appealed that the National Working Committee should ensure that all zones should have conclusive congresses to enable them to have an itch-free convention, and the youth leaders across the country should all be carried along in the northern and southern agenda of the party. African Democratic Congress (ADC) reaffirmed its commitment to uniting opposition forces ahead of the 2027 general elections. This was after Senator Baba Ahmed had accused the opposition coalition of deceiving Nigerians and that it was incapable of rescuing the nation from underdevelopment. However, in a statement signed by Jackie Wires, the party's deputy national publicity secretary, the ADC stressed that its coalition remains a collective effort aimed at presenting a credible alternative to President Bola Tinubu's administration. The statement noted that the coalition brings together prominent leaders such as former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, former Governor of Kaduna Nasir El-Rufai, Senator David Mark, Ogbeni Rauf Aribishola, Rotimi Amechi, and Peter Obi, explaining that these leaders are united after wide consultations to put national interest above individual interest. You are listening to News Express on Adamimogo 107.7 FM, transmitting live from Olojudo's Palace, Ido Ekiti. After the break, Chief of Defense Staff clarifies statement on self-defense, shuns vigilantism. Details of these and more when we return.
Hello, good people of Ekiti State and its environment. For your private, political, family, or club meetings, and so on, of not more than 50 to 100 participants, we introduce to you Adamimogo Event Hall. Yes, right at Olojudo's Palace, Adamimogo 107.7 FM's compound, Ido Ekiti. Ample parking space, good security, clean environment. You also have the opportunity to book for a media publicity of your event on our fast-growing social media platforms. All these for a talking. Simply visit us at Olojudo's Palace, Ido Ekiti, or call the following numbers for more inquiries: 0803 526 5812 or 0916 340 0878 or 0806 511 4430. You can also call 0806 380 8891 at Adamimogo Event Hall. We are waiting for your patronage.
Glad to know you're still there. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel via Adamimogo 107.7 FM. For happenings around you or news inquiries, please call our newsroom on this number 0915 786 8095. Now to the rest of the bulletin. Away from politics. The Defense Headquarters has clarified remarks made by the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, on the need for Nigerians to learn self-defense skills following mixed interpretation of causing a loan funding of $238 billion from the Japan International Cooperation Agency (JICA) to expand Nigeria's national electricity grid network, especially the transmission segment of the power value chain. This was part of the outcome of deliberations at the just concluded 9th Tokyo International Conference of Africa Development in Yokohama, Japan, where the Nigerian delegation was led by President Bola Tinubu and attended by Minister of Power Adebayo Adelabu and others. The national delegation held high-level engagements with Japanese stakeholders, including Toshiba Hitachi, Japan's Transmission and Distribution Corporation, and Energy Exchange Corporations, focusing on transmission infrastructure, operational efficiency, and strategies to reduce system losses. On the foreign scene, the United States Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has fired the Pentagon's intelligence agency chief just weeks after a White House rebuke of a report assessing the impact of American strikes on Iran, U.S. media reports. The report suggests that Lieutenant General Jeffrey Cruz will no longer serve as head of Defense Intelligence Agency (DIA), while two other senior military commanders have also been ousted by the Pentagon. The Defense Department has not offered any immediate explanation on the firing of two notable military figures in the States. Now to entertainment. Nigeria's celebrity chef and Guinness World Record holder, Ida Balsi, has been seen in a circulating video preparing a test batch of jollof rice in a massive custom-built pot. The footage, which shows her surrounded by helpers and spectators, is part of her preparations for a record-breaking attempt to cook the world's largest pot of jollof rice. Basi is set to make the official attempt on September 12, 2025, during the Gino World Jollof Festival, an event celebrating West African food, music, and culture. Basi, who gained international fame after a 2023 Guinness World Record for the longest cooking marathon, described the project as more than a record attempt. On the world of sports, Victor Boniface's loan move from Bayern Leverkusen to AC Milan is facing potential collapse. This follows some results of the medical tests he underwent with the Serie A side. The Rossoneri has reached an agreement with both Boniface and Leverkusen over a loan move plus option to buy agreements. However, there appears to be some snag after further checks. Boniface has torn his cruciate ligament twice in his career, while also suffering growing injuries in the past 2 seasons in Germany. According to reports, Boniface underwent 3 rounds of physical tests yesterday, the last one with his trusted orthopedic surgeon, which was brought back from vacation, but the test went enough, and final results will be announced today. With that sports story, we end this edition of News Express on Adamimogo 107.7 FM, Olojudo's Palace, Ido Ekiti. Just before we go, the highlights again. We brought it to you that President Bola Tinubu pushes for local arms ammunition production in fight against insurgency, as he noted that boosting local capacity will reduce dependence on foreign suppliers and also sharpen the nation's fight against insecurity. We also told you that socio-political activist Octane Hokai has identified former Vice President Atiku Abubakar and ex-Labour Party's presidential candidate Peter Obi as major threats to President Bola Tinubu's re-election bid in 2027. And lastly, we told you the Defense Headquarters has clarified remarks made by the Chief of Defense Staff General Christopher Musa on the need for Nigerians to learn self-defense skills following mixed interpretation of his statement. And that's News Express from Adamimogo 107.7 FM, Olojudo's Palace, Ido Ekiti. On behalf of the production crew, I am Mayowa Olasuyi. Good evening.
Top stories, real voices.